Hello again, everyone. In this lesson, we want to go ahead and import some data from an Excel spreadsheet. Let's go ahead and get started. First, we want to take a look at our Excel spreadsheet. So I'm going to go to my SQL Server folder, and here it is. As you can see, it's a collection of basically names and addresses and emails and telephone numbers. It is also saved in the Excel 97-2003, the older format for Excel. Let's go to SQL Server Import Export Data Wizard. And choose Next. In the drop-down list, I am going to choose Excel. It is already pointing to Excel 97-2003, and yes, the first row has column names. I will browse to the file location, choose it, open, and then click Next. Now, unfortunately, we get this error message, which is kind of cryptic. Microsoft Jet OLEDB 4.0 provider is not registered on the local machine. And what this is saying in a very cryptic manner is that we are on a 64-bit machine with 64-bit version of SQL Server, 64-bit version of Office, and we're trying to import basically a 32-bit file, and it doesn't like it. We would have to either register this particular driver as it's mentioning, or convert our database, or our Excel spreadsheet I should say, to a 64-bit version. Let's actually go ahead and open this up. And I'm going to go to File, Save As. I'll go to the same folder. And I will just simply save it as an Excel workbook, the newer version, and choose Save. And I will close this. Because I have a 64-bit version of Office installed, I now have a 64-bit version of the data in the newer version. So I'm going to go back to my Import Export Wizard. I will change this to Excel 2016, even though I'm running Excel 2019. And I will browse for the newer version right here and choose Open. And then click Next. I am bringing this into SQL Server, so I'm going to find SQL Server provider, the OLEDB provider for SQL Server. It is pointing to my local server, and we are using pass-through authentication. The databases listed right now are not anything that I want to save stuff in, so I'm going to create a new one right here. I can do that. I will call it test because I'm going to have these test data dumped into this test database. We'll click Next. It says to copy data from one or more tables or views. Yes. It located my Excel basically worksheet, and it's going to create a DBO with that Excel data $sign. I could click this edit mapping and see what it has. As you can see, it's bringing everything as nvarchar, which is fine. It's just the problem with the zip code is selected as a floating point, which I don't like. So I'm going to change this one to also be nvarchar. And it's changing this to max, which I don't want. I'll just make it 255. You can see it's a little bit of a bug in SQL Server's wizard that it doesn't like that. So what I will do is I will change this to, let's say, nchar, which changes that. Then I'll change this to 255. And then I'll come back here and change this to nvarchar, and that takes care of the little bug that it has. We could take a look at the SQL that it's running and make changes if we wanted to. I will click OK now, and I will click Next. Down below, it has a couple of things on error on truncation. What this is referring to, if there is any error globally, fail the whole operation, or I could, ask it not to fail the whole operation, to ignore it. Truncation refers to the fact, what if I were to have some of the files be truncated? Maybe I have something that is longer than 255. Maybe one of the addresses is longer, it's 300 characters. If that happens, again, we're instructing it not to ignore it and to fail the entire operation. I'm going to click Next here. Notice you have the option to save this as an SSIS package, which you can run later. We'll have more to say about SSIS in another lesson, but right now I want to run this immediately. Click Next and finish. So far it seems to have success, and it does say that 100 rows were transferred. I'm going to click Close, and let me close this and go to Databases. We should have a new database called Test, and there should be a new table in there, the Excel data $. I can right click this and choose to select the top 1000 rows. And we should get all of our data that has come in there from the import-export wizard. And there they are. Beautiful. So this is how you can import something from Excel into SQL Server. Thank you for being a great audience. As always, please share your knowledge also with those on the web, in the internet community, because that's what the internet is where it is today because of generous people who are willing to share their knowledge. If you enjoyed these videos, please share them with your loved ones and friends. Thank you again for being a great audience.